Well, hello, guys, and welcome to this month's live critique. Hope you're all doing well. We've had loads of responses to this month's images, which was the theme Woodlands or Forest images, and there's been some fantastic entries this month. Anyway, guys, how have you both been doing? I only saw you last night.
I know. We've had enough of each other, haven't we?
Yeah.
Nothing to say.
Nah.
Nothing to say. No.
Be a short one. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us, guys.
Go and take a photo of a tree.
So what you both been up to?
Oh, crikey.
Come on, Tom, pull some enthusiasm out of the bag, mate. Come on.
Been doing a lot of boring office stuff, really, and just working my day job. I've been doing a lot of photography. Sorry,
what was that?
Some renovations by the sound of it.
Yeah, I've just dropped some. Yeah, I haven't really been doing a lot of photography.
You just dropped something.
Yeah.
What?
No, we're good. It
sounded like you dropped a dog.
Yeah.
I've got some prints, and I think I've just dropped some packaging. Actually,
that's okay.
No, that's all right.
I'll be okay there. What about you, Matty boy?
Well, I work too much. I need to stop.
Well, we know that. Yeah, you never stop working. Yeah, it's not good.
I'm sleep deprived. I think I've actually probably slept on an average of about 5 hours a day for the last 9 days.
Right.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot for you usually.
It is quite a lot, actually. Yeah.
Right, so we're gonna fire right into this now. I've gone through some today. I picked out the ones that Tom gave me as well, and I've put a few more in there. And we'll just work our way through and see how many we get through. But I've got 16 images in here, and we'll just see how many we get through.
It's a good month again, wasn't it? Lots of people, lots of images. Great stuff. I've got no idea what you chose out of that bunch, mate. But
it's
going to be a surprise to me. But I really enjoyed the image. It's good to know that Tom and I don't know what you chose. There you go. First image. There you go. Oh,
definitely. Yeah.
Boom. It does do something.
No
weird,
foreplay there, mate. Just right into it. Go for it.
Straight in. Go. How are you doing? So this one caught my eye straight away because it's kind of a mix of ICM and normal photography. It's something different. It's not showing up on the screen that well, and for whatever reason, it's cropping it down. I don't know why, but it is. But yeah, it's got this lovely sort of soft ICM sort of feel in the background, and then obviously it's blended into a normal shot. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You know, the concept is interesting.
The concept's really interesting. The one thing that I did notice is it could. I really like the idea of it. I like the idea of those two things. However, the blend's probably not quite right in between the two.
Yeah. The transition between.
The transition between it could probably be smoother, but I love the idea and the concept of those two things working together. It looks different from what I've seen before.
Yeah. I must admit, I don't think I've ever seen ICM like a blend like that before. Have you?
No, I haven't. That's why it caught my eye because I thought, oh, that's different. I haven't seen that before.
It is different, isn't it? Yeah. Just before
we go on, sorry to interrupt, Matt. I'm just going to catch up on all these comments. There's a whole load already. And Colin McDonald says, good morning all, or maybe good evening to you chaps.
Hi, Colin.
Serge says, hi, everyone.
That's not Serge Ramelli, is it?
No.
John
Martin Branham says, evening, folks. Steve Bishop says, hi, everyone. He's no relation.
Hi, Dad. No,
that isn't your man, is it, mate?
Damn it! I told you to put a different name on there. God. Okay.
And Josh Menker says, "I see Matt got the wood backdrop memo." Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Your attention for detail, Josh, is amazing. Yes. Yeah. I taught you well. Hang on. We just saw that image then, and it just. Oh, there we go. Beautiful.
Douglas Hartford says, greetings from Minnesota. Greetings, Douglas.
Dougie. How are you, mate?
Yeah.
What's the weather like over in Minnesota at the moment?
Who knows?
I've got no idea.
Dry.
I'll try and bring that up full screen again, but
yeah, it was there a second ago. I don't know what happened.
There we go.
Oh, I got some comments. Is that you? That's a YouTube comment, isn't it, on the right?
Go and jump into Lightroom again. If you were in the Lightroom screen, it was okay.
There you go.
There you go. Oh, but hang on. No.
Oh, yeah,
it's still got that black border.
There you go. No. Just stay. Don't move.
I won't move.
Paul, don't move. Don't blink an eyelid.
Bridget Lux says, good evening from Mallorca. Good evening.
Wow, hi, Bridget.
Mallorca, is that Spanish, Mallorca?
And hello to Paul Cunningham. Yeah, it is. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
hi, everyone.
I thought it was something really different that I hadn't seen before. So.
It's like taking a fog filter to another level, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. I prefer it more now. Now we can see all of it,
which is nice. Yeah.
Before when it was cropped, obviously I couldn't tell. It was too front heavy, but now it's like that.
Yeah.
I really like it. Yeah,
I do. I actually really. Yeah, it is. It's. I don't think anyone's done this before, have they?
Well, I haven't seen it. That's why it really sort of caught my eye because I haven't seen it before. But yeah, I really like it. I think it's really different. I think if you can nail that transition in between the two, I think you've got something going there, definitely.
Yeah. So
Bjorn,
Bjorn Carlson. Okay, Bjorn, with your transition, I'm not sure how you did it, but I find probably the most effective way to do a transition is if you're going to make a selection mask in Photoshop. Not Lightroom, obviously. You're in Photoshop and you open up a layer, and basically what you do is you get the quick selection tool out and you quick select the area that you want, all right? And Photoshop's quite intelligent, usually knows it's got a rough idea of what you're selecting. It can read your mind to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Then if you then go mask, which is up in the top, the very top in the middle of this middle of the top of the screen. And if you click on mask, then what it does is it opens up a window, and you can actually from there then go and click on, it looks like a little flame, this little icon. If you open that flame, I think it's a flame anyway. If you open that up, go back over where you selected, and then Photoshop rethinks again back over the selection it's already made and makes it spot on. And it is amazing how powerful that is.
Yeah.
Do it that way, and you'd be surprised of what results you'll get. That's but I really, really like the idea. This is just creativity, just taking another level, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, definitely. That's
it's the first... pleasing. It's pleasing to look at because it's never been seen before.
Yeah. Well, I've certainly never seen the two techniques blended in one image before. Yeah, I like it.
Definitely. Well done, Bjorn.
Yeah, very, very good idea in image.
Yeah, I think so. A cracking start.
Awesome start. Yeah, I love it.
John says almost looks like a reverse of the Adamski effect to me. Yeah, it's
right.
Josh, it's intriguing, like nature jumping between dimensions. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something really different.
It certainly is.
Right, that's fantastic shot, Bjorn. Well done.
Amazing.
Now then, next month, guys, have either of you got any ideas for a theme for next month? Because I've been making all the decisions for the themes. Does anything stand out to you for a theme for next month?
Oh, so much stands out. There's so many things in photography that stands out. I would like to see. I mean, we've been getting very creative lately, haven't we? With their different types of themes. I would like to see something sort of zoomed in on not necessarily a season or a subject. I would like to see a grand landscape.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, but within that grand landscape, there is a theme that I would like to personally see within that is actually framing the grand landscape.
Right. Okay.
So
we'll go with that then. So framing in the grand landscape.
You mean like like using a tree, like a natural frame? You mean?
Yeah, using a frame to actually to capture the landscape, whether that would be trees, or it can be quite a complex subject. This, I don't know what the feedback we'll actually get on it, but it'll be, trying to frame in a grand landscape. So with that frame might be like a tree trunk to the left and right hand side that sort of helps you draw you into that big, huge scene.
Yeah, good idea.
I don't know, some waves smashing up onto a beach that are splashing up, and you're focusing out. Anything that sort of frames that grand landscape, because I'm a big believer, everyone who's listening, if you are taking a grand landscape, there can sometimes be such an emptiness into an image of having these grand landscapes, unless you don't frame it. And if you, you look at photography, like famous photographers that, for example, like someone who obviously does take digital photography to the next level, but you have to appreciate their framing. There's someone like Max Rive. Max Rive is a master of framing the grand landscape. And whether you do or don't like his post-production process, you have to enjoy the fact that he knows how to frame those scenes. So I think this would be an interesting subject to go on.
And it could be natural or unnatural framing. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I mean, if you think about Rocket Calaccio, where we're using the castle windows as a frame, it can be anything like that. So we'll go with that then. So next month's theme is going to be framing the grand landscape. So if you can upload your images to the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook page using the hashtag OPG Critique, we'd love to see your framing images, framing the grand landscape. So moving on to the next image, which is an image by Joe Vale. I'm just going to do the same and move out of there.
G'day, Joe.
Just let me do this and see if I move. There we go. How's that? Boom. Look at that.
You are. We learned something tonight.
Yeah, look at that.
First of all, Joe, thanks, mate. You always are very, very active. With regard to these posts, and great photography. We'd like to mention your photography every month. Unfortunately, there's not time to always fit your work in, but we really appreciate it. And great, you've got some great work, and this is a classic example, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's got perfect conditions here, isn't it? Really,
it certainly has.
Yeah,
Tom,
I love the way obviously it's about the light rays, but he's framed it really well as well. The composition works really nicely.
So it could have gone on well next month's.
Yeah. You got the way that the layers work on the left, and you sort of get led through into the light source behind, which you can't see. Which is quite intriguing. You know what I mean? And obviously, it's a nice, warm, happy, bright image, which is always good.
Yeah, and these kind of shots are difficult, aren't they?
Very difficult. Yeah,
difficult to control what's happening.
Whoa, you just touched something then, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm doing it on purpose. Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Down there, where my cursor is, down there, it's difficult to kind of control what happens on those bright areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
very hard. Yeah, very hard.
It's not easy at all, but it's lovely. Yeah, I really like that.
These sort of images, you have to kind of accept the fact that you're going to potentially get some blown out highlights here and there.
Yeah.
It's inevitable, isn't it? When you've got one extreme to the other, and you're trying to capture that moment.
Yeah.
I think Joe's effectively exposed for the highlights, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Obviously using a camera with a decent sensor. With
definitely.
a good dynamic range, so he's managed to open up some of those shadows that you would find in the sort of the deeper part of the forest.
Yeah. It's not looking particularly noisy at all. So he's obviously exposed it well.
It's had a nice edit on it as well. It's not looking too gritty, and
I think it's
PR, is it?
I think it's not just that. I mean, makes it obviously the light. These beams of light is the main point of attraction, isn't it? But I find what I like about this image that makes it pleasing, that we've got a very good balance of white balance. it's not global. It's extremely local to the areas where is what our eye would see. A sensor doesn't see this. So Joe's put in some effort into the either that or he's got this sensor that's I have no idea. It's got its own brain. But if you look at the highlights of this image, they're very warm, aren't they? They're just the right amount of warm. But if you look at the shadows, they're cool.
Yeah.
And that's how things are supposed to be. Now, an image sensor with it takes a global white balance, doesn't it? So it either makes it cool, bright, it doesn't sort of go very, very local into an area like our eye does. So that's what makes this really, really nice. Is that very, very pleasing white balance overall. That mixture of the cool and the warm and those beautiful light beams. Yeah,
you're totally right, mate. Yeah, and it's something that I always try to do when I do my edits, especially my Woodlands. Is to keep is to sort of make them warm. The brighter areas warmer and the darker areas cooler.
And
once you learn how to do that in Photoshop Lightroom, it does open up a whole new world, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Well, it's all about the balance, isn't it? Because you're not only you're trying to balance the frame where you're trying to balance elements against each other, it's balancing the edit against each other as well. So you've got those cooler and warmer tones, and I think he's done a good job there. Josh says this has everything: shadows, light, color, and composition, and probably the product of returning to this location many times.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
It looks like a good little scene that would look good in different seasons. It'll be interesting to see what it's like in different seasons. If it was me, like it would be good in snow, good in spring. Nice little scene that.
I mean, the thing is with this image here, okay, you got to look at it. It's not like you're attracted to the location, are you?
No.
And this is the classic example of I think what are people learning in the last couple of years is you don't have to go to Iceland, for example, to get that epic scene. You can get it anywhere, And this is a great image. This is an image you would print on a wall happily. It's beautiful. Like Josh says, it's got everything, and it's probably just up the road from Joe's house.
Right place, right time. That's what most of it is, isn't it?
That's what photography. That's what landscape photography is. It's not about being in that place. It's about just the light happening, the right time of year, and a good eye for composition and seeing a finer detail in a little woodland. And,
the end of the day.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
That's okay, mate. I was just going to say, at the end of the day, it's about what we have said many times before. It's about putting yourself in the place to capture the shot in the first place.
That's what makes a photographer, isn't it? It's actually putting yourself there.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it? Yeah. The actual photography itself, the actual pressing that button is 10% of it, or not even, is it? The skill of actually the photograph itself isn't that much. It's putting yourself into that condition.
Yeah.
Knowing where to go and knowing what time of day to go there and getting out of bed and doing it while everyone else is, sleeping in on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, totally.
Lovely image.
Yeah, nice one. Nice
awesome,
one, mate.
Good one, mate.
So just want to say again, next month, we're going to use the theme of framing the wide vista. Is that what you were going to go for? Framing the wide vista?
God, how would you word it? We'll get back. Framing the grand landscape.
Yeah, framing the grand landscape. So we'll go with that. So framing the grand landscape using the hashtag OPG Critique. Upload your images to the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group. We'd love to see them for next month.
And next month, there's going to be a prize, some free steak knives for the winner. Tom, do you still got those steak knives, mate?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, good.
They're in the dishwasher, I think. I'll sort them out.
The ones that can cut through a shoe, remember?
Yeah. Right, I'm picking this one. And the reason I picked this one, not only do I like the winter scene, but it looks very much like my much beloved Fuji pano.
Oh, yeah.
It isn't quite, but it looks a lot like it. And
you love your panos, don't you? Right?
Yeah, and I do. I just love this sort of the aspect ratio of these. I think that they draw you in. It's very cinematic, and it's I love it.
Yeah, that was the word I'm looking for. I was trying to think of a word, and cinematic sums it up nicely, I think.
Yeah, and what I really liked about this is the fact that they've frozen the motion of the snow falling, so you actually get that real sense of the atmosphere.
Oh, I thought they just used ridiculously high ISO. So is that 52,000?
No,
it's snow,
texture,
is it?
Texture cranked to 100.
Yeah.
No, it's just I love the way that they did that and kept that sort of motion of the snow.
Yes, lovely. Yeah, this is right on my street. I love these images. It really gives you a sense of like temperature, like atmosphere, like you said, temperatures, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's difficult to tell if it's actually black or white.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You don't actually know whether it's black or white, or whether
you don't know if it's black or white or black and white. I didn't get it.
Or because of that kind of color palette you get when it's snowing, it's difficult to tell.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's it's like a reminiscence of the typical Scottish horizon. Always looks like that, doesn't it? It's either rain or snow. No, it's nice.
I love it, and I love the fact that they haven't been scared to crop the top of those trees out either.
Yeah,
up here, because that honestly doesn't bother me at all.
No, it makes it feel more cinematic, isn't it? A bit more mysterious, maybe.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it bother you though? There is a reason why it doesn't bother you.
Do you know what it is? I learned a long time ago that sometimes missing bits of an image out can actually add to an image, as ridiculous as it sounds.
No,
because
you're right.
You're actually adding that mystery and intrigue, and that almost a sense of you thinking to you, of sense of wonder, I guess, as to how big the trees are, what's above there.
Okay.
And it kind of makes you want to look at the image longer to kind of try and figure those out.
It's a mixture between the two. I mean, Paul, God, you know me with looking at images. I feel like I've got a bit of an instinct, with how I can approach an image and see it and sort of break it into pieces instantly. Okay, yeah. Why doesn't that bother you? It doesn't bother you, number one, because those trees are in your complete immediate foreground. So there's a huge separation between them and everything else in the image, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not blended between the rest of the image. The fact that it's not blended permits you to actually cut them, to do what you want with them, because they don't take part in the rest of the scene as far as a layer goes.
Yeah.
Because they are very close, is number one. Number two is because it is a pano crop. So with a pano crop, the rule of thirds, where you still have to respect it to a certain point of view, we've got the top and the bottom section cut off. So our rule of thirds is kind of like the rule of twelfths, isn't it? It's different,
Yeah.
So by having that crop, we can appreciate it as something different, and so it's more pleasing to the eye because of that. With the standard normal crop, it probably wouldn't work. If you imagine this scene to be, you'd have to actually cut it in half to get a standard, 2x3. If you were to do that now and then look at it, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
It does here because of the crop and because it is immediate in your foreground. Plus the fact that we have an atmosphere. So this atmosphere in the background, we've got the snow, obviously, that's creating some form of very deep haze.
Yeah.
It's creating a very big separation between the immediate foreground and everything else in the scene. So you got these details of the snow in these trees at the front that your eye is just immediately attracted to it. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a really great shot. It's effective, isn't it? Yeah,
very effective. Yeah.
Catch up on these comments before we say anything else. Katie says, "I like this one. Gives me the winter quiet feel." Yeah, for sure, definitely. And John says, "Feel like it adds a sense of space to the image as it gives us a perception of the distance we can see in the image."
Yeah, that's what Matt was saying. Yeah.
And Josh says, "Totally right, Paul. People look at an image longer if they have to use their imagination."
Yeah, if it makes you, you know what I mean. That's what it is, isn't it? If it makes you feel like you want.
It's a great technique because that's what you want. You don't want people to kind of look at something for a couple of seconds and think, right, next.
Yeah,
and if it actually makes you stop and sort of think about it, I think you're onto it.
Well, a lot of photography is that these days, isn't it? Unfortunately, and not, depends who you are, but a lot of it is very much social media. A lot of people design their photography to be attractive on social media, so that means it has to get your attention immediately. With a bright color, a pink, or some crazy foreground that blows you away. And normally, those types of images only they've got your attraction for that split second, and you're like, oh wow, and then after that, wow, it's like it's over now. There's nothing else to analyze.
Next swipe,
yeah.
And that's the sad state we're in, really.
Some of the the most beautiful artists in the world. People we look up to, not just in photography, but in any form of art. You should be able to sit in a museum and look at something and analyze it for a long time.
But this is the thing: an image like this doesn't work on social media.
No.
An image like this works in a gallery, where you can appreciate it for a long period of time.
Do we have a name linked to this image, mate?
Let me go out of here. This one is Mark Holbrook.
G'day, Mark. Well done, mate.
Yeah, lovely image, brother.
Well done. If you could, I don't know if you're on tonight. If you're not, and you do see the live, we'd like a bit of a story behind the image. So if you could post it up, maybe onto the Facebook group, on the Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group, give us a bit of a story behind this image, and we'd like to know the camera you used, what settings you used, where you were, what attracted you to this type of crop, and what this image means to you. Be nice to hear a bit of a story behind it, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I think
so.
Lovely work, though. Lovely work.
Good on you, mate. Good on you, buddy.
Right, so next month, I just want to remind you again, we're going to go for framing the grand vista or the grand landscape.
There you go.
And get your entries in using the hashtag OPG Critique to the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group, because we're going to, after this month, we've had some fantastic results. So we want to see what you've got for next month, because this is getting better and better every month. We're getting more and more images sent in. More and more engagement, and it's good to have these conversations online where people are interacting as well, because it makes it for us.
Yeah,
it really does. So I'm just going to bring this next one up, and because Mr. Cunningham is in the chat, I thought I'd put his image up here. There we go. It's not looking the greatest because it's probably a bit compressed, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Go, Tom, mate. This is up your neck of the woods.
If I take it down, is the quality slightly better?
Yeah,
leave it like that, mate.
Yeah,
yep, definitely.
Like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. I like the fact that he has not been scared to use like a classic leading line. He's not tried to be too clever, has he? With the composition, he's just sort of seen something that attracts him. Obviously, something that's appealing to the eye. You've got is it like an oak tree down in the distance there, and you sort of the light source in the back. There's definitely some sort of opening, isn't there, in the mid ground? You get that light that hits the dappled light on the path. Which pulls you in again.
It does, doesn't it?
I like the fact it's in the middle. It's not. You got sort of a darker area where he stood, and then you get pulled into the middle of the frame. The opening of the canopy, and then it goes into like a darker area in the back. So you're sort of gradually pulled through rather than a light source way off in the distance.
You got a good sleep last night, Tom, didn't you?
Oh no, the boy's feeling better. So we did that. I might have had 6 hours. I might have had one more.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell, mate. You're getting very.
It's Woodlands, isn't it? It's what. That's what I like.
Well, that's why I came up with it, to be honest, because I knew he'd get right into this one.
Yeah. The light on the bark's nice. On the left, the tree. Everything's very subtle, and how I think the eye would see it. He's not, he's not. The white balance looks good. Yeah, so it's a nice image. A real nice image.
Paul, if you're there, mate, not Paul Thompson. We know you're there, don't you? Tom,
I'm definitely
there. Yeah, okay. If you're listening, just add a little comment in the bottom there and tell us just a little bit about this image, where you took it, settings, things like that.
Yeah,
be interesting to know a little bit about this. Well, I look at this scene myself, and I agree with everything Tom just said. I would probably have just backed off a little bit in post-production in one area. I think that tree trunk, that isolated tree trunk on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
I probably would have just backed off a little bit on the maybe the contrast.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit too evident in post-production. Could be wrong. I mean, we are looking at a low-resolution image here up onto a live stream. But I think it just I probably just backed off a little bit on it. Just made it a little bit softer in the contrast, just to let it blend in a little bit more naturally. I'm not sure what post-production techniques you've used, Paul, in this image, but yeah, apart from that, I agree with everything you said, Tom. It's a great shot. Great shot. I really like it.
One little niggle on the bottom right. There's like a little brown fern that's really out of focus, and it's just. I would probably, you could crop that out, or crop the side out, or try and step in a little bit and go shoot wider, maybe, to sort of try and take it out of frame. But yeah.
Didn't even notice it.
No,
it is there, but yeah.
Yeah, it's because I've got it on my big screen to my right, and I can see it like a lot bigger. But yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I like it. I like the fact that he's used those conditions to his advantage as well, and it's
yeah. Again, kind of like we talked about with the last image, like the warmer areas are warmer, and the cooler areas are cooler, and that just adds to the whole depth and the way that the image has been composed, doesn't it?
Yeah, shadows have some form of mystery to them, don't they? And if they're warm, they don't have that mystery anymore. Warm is welcoming, isn't it?
Yeah,
shadows is mystery. It's darkness. You got to be very, very careful with that.
Yeah, you see so many times, like you said, it's people go sort of, they get confused. I don't know whether they don't really know what direction to go with the image, or they crash into it too fast and they don't stand back and go make a cup of tea and come back to it, because you see so many times where it's either one or the other, or there is weird little because if you see down in the far distance, there is a little bit like autumn brown sort of leaves. Some people might think, because it's turned, the colour's turned, I'll just warm that up a little bit, and it would just look weird down there in that cool area. So yeah,
you know what your cup of tea actually is, and I found this probably more so in the last 2 or 3 years than I did earlier on, was we're used to trying to fill up our computer screen with an image to make those little tweaks and changes and bring in information in raw image in post-production. And we're sort of, our head is quite close to this big screen, isn't it? So you're sort of like, and you're very much inside the image, aren't you? Right?
Yeah.
Now, that cup of tea, as you said, you go and have a cup of tea and then come back and then look at things again. That cup of tea, for me, is to actually just zoom out. So bring that image down to like 5%. Bring it really small onto your screen and look at it small.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you this weird sense of, okay, is everything balanced? Does everything look right? Is the composition correct? Is the light right? Making everything really, really small sometimes actually helps you to see the image better. It's weird. Try it.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Look at things on a thumbnail perspective. It's almost like try and understand how your image would look on Instagram, by zooming right out.
Yeah.
But that is true. It does help. Every now and then, zoom, right out. And that gives you like a refresh. It helps you to start off again and then reanalyze an image again from the beginning.
Yeah.
I find that really, really useful. I tend to do that if I was to spend, I don't know, half an hour to 45 minutes on an image just balancing everything out. I tend to do that every 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah. Just zoom right out, have a look at everything, reanalyze everything.
Yeah, because otherwise you kind of get pulled into the whole frame of it, don't you? And you don't have to see the whole
it becomes part. Yeah, that's right. You don't see the frame anymore. You just become part of it.
Yeah.
I do the exact same thing. Zoom in and out quite a lot in Photoshop. Yeah.
Lovely image though, Paul. Lovely
I like that one, mate. I like that one.
On you, Paul. Nice. You didn't give us the story though, you bugger. Get on there and write something for us.
Put up there.
Yeah. Don't be shy.
You got half an hour.
So for next month, natural framing. So
natural flame.
Natural flaming. Yeah.
Didn't realize we're doing bushfires next month, mate.
Yeah. So using framing the grand landscape. I keep messing it up. Framing the grand landscape. That's where we want to be. And get those submissions put into the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group using the hashtag OPG Critique. I think Matt's picked the longest sounding theme. But yeah, fantastic.
I'm complex.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Friggin' agree with me, for God's sake.
Right, I also want to bring this one up because look at this baby.
Whoa!
I found this today and I thought, oh, why didn't I see this before?
Oh, you just won the steak knife set, mate.
Yeah.
There we go.
I didn't see this. I didn't even see this one. When did this come up?
I think it just came up today or yesterday.
God.
But yeah, it's a nice seeing this.
Who took this image?
This is
Sean
Crawford.
Yeah, I think I've seen.
What's his name? His name would be like in your face, wouldn't it? Sean Crawford.
Sean Crawford.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's a nice shot. I like that.
That was a.
I'll tell you what. I'm telling you, that's the best shot I've seen in a few weeks. I'm not kidding you.
Josh says, I'll submit a complex shot of a shrimp on the barbie for next week.
Just don't forget to frame it, mate.
Yeah, I love you, Josh, mate. I love you.
Wow.
This shot I really like. It really stood out to me because it's very. If you're in the UK, you'll know who I mean, but it's very Neil Burnell. It's very. It's got that sort of feel about it. It's the kind of shot that he would kind of put out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is more natural than Neil's work, mate. This is pure. Okay, that's it. I'm there. I took the shot, and the only thing I did in post production was turn it into black and white.
Yeah. Nice.
My God. Yeah. How beautiful is that, huh?
Yeah, it's very complex and simple at the same time, isn't it?
How do you? Well, it is complex because that is to try and frame that shot. What has made the frame in this shot? I look at it and I think, okay, what is it that makes this so good? It's the complex layers, the depth of the layers, dragging you into that unbelievable atmosphere. But what makes it is that immediate foreground. Like we were saying before, something rang right bang smack in the foreground. Yeah, you got this tree trunk on your left third, which has basically been cropped off.
Yeah.
At the top and the bottom, hasn't it? So you can't see the ground. You can't see the sky. It's been cropped hard It's right bang smack on the left-hand third of your image, and it's very close to you, and it's detailed. And then from there, everything just works off each other. Just like these trees, this weird shape of these trees just work off that one trunk in the immediate foreground, don't they? They just they just complement each other. Even into the background there on that left-hand side. Look at that tree right at the back there. All those twists in the branches, but then it becomes a mystery in the back there because you got that fog and that light. It just takes you in every direction. There's not one leading line.
No,
my God.
Because the
this
thing is,
beautiful.
when you look at it, there's shots within a shot within a shot. You know what I mean? You can kind of pick out bits that you would probably isolate and photograph by themselves.
Well, the isolation between the trees in let's say the foreground, which are more simple, and then the trees in the background have got so much complexity, haven't they?
Yeah.
The trees sort of in the foreground they're sort of a bit bowie shaped, but they sort of go from, down the bottom up to the top like trees actually do. But everything in the background, you got just very, very wide branches, don't you? Very ghosty, gnarly branches just going everywhere, just complete chaos.
Yeah.
Wow.
What I noticed straight away about it was I haven't I'm not comparing myself a previous shot to this, but compositionally, there's a scene that I photographed ages ago, and compositionally, it's very similar where you have a tree or like a main subject in the middle, like that tree there on the front third, and then it's almost like an upside down triangle, isn't it? You almost the tree on the left, the main trees left go off at 45 to the left, and the ones that go 45 to the right, and the scene, all the interest in the scenes in behind, and they're almost acting like a barrier that what you want to look through.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And, it's like looking through blinds almost.
Yeah, you're looking. Yeah. In that composition, that I don't know whether obviously he's picked it out. I don't know whether intentionally he knew about this scene before, but I would think he probably would have done, because this needs that atmosphere, doesn't it, to work?
I think. Look, I don't know how many times you guys have been in this position. Unfortunately, myself, not many times to get foggy conditions like this. But when you're walking through a forest and you've got foggy conditions and you're just at peace with yourself, nothing is hurrying you. Once you start slowing down, you start seeing these scenes. I'm sure that, who was it? What's this guy's name? Sorry?
Sean.
I'm sure Sean would have taken, 150 shots that day, even more. You just got to that's the beauty of trees, isn't it? It's just finding the harmony. It's definitely, it's not a place where you say, oh, I've gone back to again, because you're not going to remember. There's so many tree trunks there. There's so much happening, and thanks to the light, that fog is incredible. Wow. And it's black and white.
Yeah. Which isn't usually my thing, I have to say. I'm not naturally drawn to black and white images. But
that's very softer, isn't it? It's very subtle black and white.
Yeah, it's not really contrasty. It's quite soft.
It adds to the eeriness.
Black and white isn't about contrast. Black and white is about to have this separation between whites and blacks, lights and darks. And if you've got this clear separation between the two, you have yourself a black and white image. If there's not this big separation between the two, so you've got everything's very, very close together, it's hard to get something pleasing. And it's been a brave move to go on black and white. A lot of people go black and white when the light was no good.
Yeah,
he took a shot up. I'll just turn it to black and white. Should be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
But in this case, this image in color would have been beautiful as well too. So it's, but the
Great
light
shot.
is so good, it's even more powerful in black and white. Definitely even more powerful.
It's a lovely shot.
Please tell us more about this image. I want to know more about it. Get onto the group and tell us more about it, because it's worth the attention, Sean.
Yeah,
Sean, this is great work, mate. And
some fantastic images this month. You've done really well, guys. Honestly.
Yeah.
Crikey.
So, for next month, just want to remind you again that we're doing Frame in the Grand Vista.
Landscape, mate. Frame in the Grand Landscape.
Well, it's the same thing, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, Frame in the Grand Landscape or Grand Vista, whichever you like.
Yeah. Woodland, bush, trees. Okay.
And get your submissions into the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group using the hashtag OPG Critique. So there's been some fantastic stuff this month, and we would love to see some more of it next month.
Definitely.
Right, where was the one I was going to choose? Where is it now? So there was a couple. I mean, to be honest, anyone I choose, we're going to have plenty to talk about. But I'm going to choose Josh's because
Josh.
Matt and I both know this place because we were there when he took it.
Apparently, yeah.
But Tom won't have seen this.
No, I haven't seen this. No, this is new to me.
This area, but yeah, it was a lovely little sort of canyon, wasn't it, near Gran Sasso?
Yeah, so it's nice to tell a story behind the image, isn't it? So we were walking through a woodland in autumn at the base of a mountain. We had a bit of extra time on our hands before sunset, so we thought we'd go and shoot some of these beech trees, which you can see in the background there. You got these beautiful beech trees. I mean, this lovely autumn light and color. And yeah, there was this canyon that sort of was in the middle of, just came out of the middle of nowhere. And there was this beautiful separation between the shadows and the the highlights of this, this cold and warmth there. And I remember him taking this shot at that. I remember him taking it, and I remember seeing it and thinking, wow.
Because I took something similar, but I didn't actually take the full tree. I separated some leaves out that were hanging down on a branch. But what I liked about it is I think it's limestone, and it's quite white limestone, and then you're getting that lovely contrast between the color of the autumnal colors against that white limestone, and it reflects the light back really beautifully. That rock.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, it's a real color punch, isn't it? It's all about that color, isn't it? It's just the way that you just get. It's confusing to look at, isn't it? Because of the blue. It's so blue on the left.
Yeah.
And so orange in the middle. It's a real sort of color thinker.
But with the theme that we've got for next month with framing, this is a good example. It's not a grand vista, but it's a good example of using the landscape to frame something. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. It's a lovely image. It's a like again, as I said it before, it's something you have to really study, isn't it?
I think it's really important with images. I really do. As we've discussed before, the way things are today, we're very much a scroll next society. So anything that makes you stop and actually gives you a bit of sense of wonder and exploration into an image, then I think it's a good thing.
This is almost like one of them images that does both. No.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You get pulled in because of the color. And if this was a thumbnail on Instagram, I would stop and look at that. And then when you look at and I know obviously we're photographers, so I would look at it for longer than half a second. and then you see so much detail in them rocks that are right in your face before you even get anywhere near the orange. So it's nice, it's interesting. It's not something that you don't normally see, is it?
Well, you don't, because you don't in our woodlands. You don't tend to get massive rocky outcrops.
No,
like
you don't. No.
That's. I think that's why it stood out so much when we were actually there, because you were getting that. those two different things. You're getting that lovely textured rock, and you're getting the autumnal colours and beech forests as well. So
yeah, it's lovely. Nice shot. I like that.
Yeah, I love this, Josh. Well done, mate.
Yeah, well done, buddy.
Right, again, next month. What's the theme, Matt?
Grand landscapes.
No, I'm just joking. Can we say framing landscapes or framing
the grand landscape, wasn't it?
Framing the grand landscape. So the grand landscape, just it's it could be like the image we just saw. Really, it's still a landscape, grandish. Yeah. It's up to you guys. Framing the landscape, the grand landscape. Yeah, we'll call it framing the grand landscape. So please use your imagination. I'm sure you've got a lot of images already on your hard drive that you could go back to and even have a look over. If not, go out and frame something. Framing is great. It's part of not necessarily a leading line, but it just completes an image sometimes when an image is empty. Having obviously the most natural frame we have available to us is trees, don't they? Because you get the trunk that going up and then the branches that come down, and you're trying to sit in between it. And there's that classic shot of Enrico Fossati, which we critiqued months and months back.
Did, yeah.
Of the Shire. I can't remember where it was now. But that typical example.
Yeah, the tree hanging over. Yeah.
We might have put that up on the Facebook group, guys, just to give everyone an example of what that type of photography is about. And
that is a perfect example, actually.
Definitely
beautiful shot, and it just looks like the cover of the Lord of the Rings with Gandalf standing underneath the tree.
That's right.
Yeah, so Tolkien, if you're watching, hit him up.
Right, okay, on to the next image. Now then, I'm struggling to see these, but this is actually taken on an iPhone, and I think it's something we haven't really covered before. So I thought, you know what, we'll bring this up because a lot of people do use phones, and even if it's a case of using a phone to actually just find images to go back to, I think it's a valuable tool.
Yeah, it's one of Damien. Is it Damien?
Damien Amor, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What makes you think it's on an iPhone?
Because he said.
Oh, is that what it says?
That's because he said I took this photo with my iPhone.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it said a couple of phone shots.
Ah, right.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
So he's maybe used it for that purpose, but. Yeah, I like the fact that he's got down really low with this, really low to the ground.
Yeah, he's like kind of like what Matt said earlier. He's using the trees to create that sort of the scale, isn't he?
It's framing again. It's framing.
It is framing. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, he's using the trees to frame the scene and sort of naturally manipulating the feeling he wants to portray in the image. And that creates the depth, doesn't it, as well? And the scale, which all adds to the story of the image from front to back.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right what you said there, Tom. Yeah, just the perspective does just add to scale, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously the light coming in from the right helps as well.
Yeah, and I think, as I was saying before about leaving a sense of wonder, the same as that image that we saw, the crop, with cropping the tops of the trees out. What I was trying to say before is where you can kind of almost leave half a tree in. That really creates a sense of mystery about an image. Definitely. That's the kind of thing I really like, because you don't actually know how big that tree is or what's beyond it. So it's kind of giving you a sense of wonder. And I think that really helps with an image, because that's kind of partly telling a story, or it's making you create part of that story by
just crop every single freaking tree, innit? Like the one behind me. There you go.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I think it's a really good technique. And actually, it was Adam Gibbs when I went to Vancouver the last time taught me that technique. Because I was trying to get trees into a shot, and he stood beside me and said, "Look," he says, "try and cut off that tree," he says, "and leave a little bit to the imagination." And it's something that's carried with me actually since that point, and I try to do it when I'm out in the forest now.
Yeah, I think that's something you learn, like you learn to sort of grab that to your own advantage if you shoot the woodlands a lot, because it's so hectic normally, isn't it? And by like working backwards in a way like that, it does, that is exactly, you are trying to eliminate distractions at the same time, as well as simplify and create mystery. It's a great technique to do that. And like I said, it is a natural frame, isn't it? As well as creating mystery.
So just catch up with these two comments here. Paul Cunningham was saying, "Thanks for the critique, guys. I didn't realize my image was up tonight. I completely forgot I posted this. This was shot at 110mm with a 70-200 2.8. It's a place called Ravelston Dykes."
Wow.
And Josh says his shot was taken on a 50mm prime.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the comments.
Yeah,
it's nice to get so much feedback, isn't it? Live.
Well, it does, because we can give more of the story behind the images that way, and it's
definitely
more helpful.
Yeah. And that way you kind of know people actually listening to you.
The three of us aren't just sitting around having a chat as usual.
No, Katie's listening to us, aren't you, Katie?
Katie's listening to us. Yeah.
You can
thumbs up in the comment, Katie, if you're listening to us.
In there.
Yeah, she's there. We're just testing you to make sure you're still there with us, Katie. Jokes aside, going back to the iPhone image, as I said, beautiful scene, great perspective. Definitely, as we said, gives you a form of scale and everything. One thing I'd like to comment on the fact that it is a phone image is that, as you can tell, it is extremely. God, I can't use pasteurized, can I? That's not even a word, Matt. It is a very, the post-production's had to be pushed to a certain point of view to push it beyond reality, hasn't it? There's nothing much in this scene that looks realistic, is there? Because the post-production has had to manipulate the actual image, the power of the sensor itself to give it something. And we all know that as beautiful as these images look like on our phone screen, beyond the phone screen, they're no good. As far as image quality, superior image quality is concerned, they're not cameras, are they?
No.
We're talking about, if you look at this there's no lens on this. Oh, you can't see because I've got this really weird. Well, that looks strange, doesn't it? I've actually got a phone in my hand right now. You can't even see it. Look. Hey, there you go. Well, that's weird. There you go. That's freaky. Yeah. There's not much. There's just pure software in these phones that make an image look pleasing. But
they're getting better. But the fact remains, you're never gonna, unless you're gonna get a bigger sensor inside them, they're never gonna be.
Well, it's not just the sensor. Don't forget, mate. There's not. You don't
have the glass as well.
You don't have it. Yeah, you don't have a lens on them, do you? And that's at the end of the day, image quality comes down to lenses. You need to have a very good lens on your camera to get good results.
I wouldn't discourage anybody from using it if that's all you've got, because at the end of the day, you can still learn to frame up and work on composition and everything with your phone. And
definitely,
that's why I use mine out in the field, because rather than getting the camera out the bag and everything, I'll use the phone to kind of frame it up and see if it actually works as a shot before I get the camera out.
Well, probably one of my favorite landscape photographers out there, Joe Cornish. Joe Cornish actually uses his camera to frame up all his shots. He'll first get to a scene, look at it, and then pull his camera out and take a shot and then look at it and go, that works. And then he'll get his gear out,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely useful.
Sure.
But as far as image quality goes, they're extremely limited. So good. Anyway, Damien, great shot, mate. You can see that you got a keen eye for composition and capturing a subject. Definitely.
Right, we're up to an hour, but I'm going to try and nail a couple more unless I'm told otherwise. If we're all okay to get a couple more in, because there's been so many, I want to try and get through as many as possible. But just get a couple more done, maybe, eh?
Yeah, why not?
If you can get your submissions in for next month, we'd really appreciate it. Using the hashtag OPG Critique, and put your submissions up to the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group. And the theme is framing grand landscapes or grand vistas.
And the prize is?
Kitchen knives. Kitchen knives. I've been doing the dishwasher. I'll
free steak knives. Okay.
Don't tell people that because they're going to expect it now.
Tom is going to send over his steak knife set.
My missus is going to be fuming with me. Yeah.
Who wins? Get Tom's steak knife set.
Which is weird because we're vegetarians, but then we're.
That's not weird. You mean you don't need them. That's why you're giving them away.
Right, Tom, you picked this one out, mate. So I'm going to let you go with this
weird.
one first.
That's really weird the way you picked that one out. I can't understand why.
I can't understand it.
No. Fresh from memory. Who took this?
Nicola Little.
Nicola Little,
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we talked with the main tree. Obviously you've got that main tree in front of you.
The dark tree. Yeah, the darker one.
I think maybe this sort of pyramid effect I was on about the composition. It's kind of because a lot of the woodlands. I don't know around your way, Paul. Not so much yours, Matt. There, we get lots of hundreds of years ago. There were sort of plantations, weren't they? Or there were landowners and they planted trees in lines or some sort of order, but you tend to get them like sometimes there's a certain woodland I go to and you can almost, it's so hard to photograph because they're all in front of each other and no matter where you stand, they all
you can't kind of get in one way or the other to kind of block one out behind the other.
Exactly. So it's very hard, but the tree is a little bit tight on the right there, isn't it? There is a separation there. And obviously,
it's definitely fighting though, isn't it?
It's fighting it. I would like if it was me. You're talking an inch or two to the right, potentially, aren't you? Just to give it a little bit more because of the sort of swirly one in behind the third one back.
That one back there. If I just use the pointer in there.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Again, it's touching and it's so hard to photograph woodlands, isn't it? And get everything where you want.
It's not easy at all.
No, and especially like a scene like this, is the things will probably be moving. There's lots of foliage there, isn't there? And the bluebells. Wow, everyone. It's hard to not take a pleasing image of the bluebells, is it?
Yeah, it's definitely something that draws you in because everybody gravitates, especially here. Everybody gravitates to taking bluebell shots at certain times of the year. So, yeah, definitely.
It's nice to see. Actually, I don't know. It's nice to see. I think they're like silver birches, aren't they?
Yeah. You've got oak in the foreground there.
Yeah.
There's oak trees in the foreground, but those ones back there definitely look like silver birch. That one there, and those,
which is unusual, isn't it?
It is because you don't usually get so much of a mix. But
no, normally you only get bluebell woods they tend to live best around beech trees.
Yeah, but funny enough, just up from me, it's all silver birch.
Yeah,
and they're full of bluebells through there.
Maybe it's just geography of where they are because
could be north.
North. Could be, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I picked this image because it's just light and bright and airy. And there was spring. Yeah, there's a few little things I wanted to pick about the separation because it's very important in Woodlands. It's composition. It's one of your biggest tools, isn't it? Is trying to create separation.
Yeah.
And like the shot we've seen earlier with a sheen, like the shot we've seen earlier with the fog.
Yeah.
That didn't need that because the fog was creating separation in the layers. Whereas this, you don't have that. It's all down to how you position yourself and taking your time. Yeah, it's almost there in terms of the middle of the image.
Yeah, that lacks a little bit of atmosphere in the air, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think the only way you probably could have help the separation would be to probably do something in post-production. I'm not saying put in fake fog filters or stuff like that, but maybe that tree in the immediate foreground there, right bang smack in the middle, maybe open the shadows up a little bit or increase the whites in it a little bit and just to make it a bit crisper. It is closer to us, so it is natural that we do see that tree trunk a lot clearer than everything else that's behind us. So
that is a good point.
Bit of post-production there wouldn't have gone astray, I don't think. Those leaves on the left-hand side there, even though they're a bit out of focus, not out of focus, but it's because of movement, because the tree movement obviously doesn't bother me because it is a nice.
No.
It is a nice little frame, isn't it? An imperfect frame.
One thing I would have probably done is, you see this here?
That little branch, yeah.
I would have probably just cloned that out.
Yeah.
Because it's quite distracting, because it's white.
Yeah, it looks like there's a big crack in the corner, in the corner of the screen, doesn't it? Yeah.
So, I mean, something like that, really simple, though, because that'll just clone right out of there, no problem at all. Or even content-aware fill will do just as good a job, to be honest with you. It'll take that out
definitely.
Of
there.
Yeah, the little things that sometimes you get around them in the field as well. That might just be like a little dead reed, or
you could just pick that up if it's not,
or if it's still alive. Sometimes you can just sort of gently fold things. It's not, you're not doing any harm.
It's just checking the corners of your frames, isn't it? Really?
That's it. Yeah. Which is really even more important in a scene like this, isn't it? There's so much to miss if you're not taking your time, and even then you still miss things. But it's a nice image. It's a nice, happy image. But you are right, Matt. You could do with, or even the technique. You always teach is the contact. How do you
contrast depth?
Contrast depth.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That would benefit from this, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to know about contrast depth, if you just jump onto the Outdoor Photography Guide website, and if you're not a member, go and join the website. It's a very, very small fee to pay, and if you become a member, you can access all the tutorials that are available on there from all of us and some other great photographers out there who teach courses about post-production and on-field tips and things. So it's a great resource, Outdoor Photography Guide for tutorials. So sure. Definitely jump on there, guys, if you're not already a member, and join. It's a very small fee and definitely worth the money.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Right, I'm just going to pull this last one up quickly because we're now in 1 minute 10 into the thing. So we'll get this last one. It's just, this one really caught my eye because it's Dragon in the Mist, and it's by Nancy Lee.
It certainly is. Is that an apple stuck in the tree trunk there?
It looks something like it, doesn't it? It's and some whether it's had scales attached to the I don't know, but it looks. Yeah, I thought it was really nice. It's just something different.
Yeah, very different. Yeah, I haven't seen this one either.
Right.
No, I haven't seen this one. No.
Yeah, it's such a shame that branch is there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of what we just talked about, isn't it? With the separation, it's what we don't want it to be.
Yeah, but you can't always help that. You've just got to kind of go with. But then at the same time, maybe because you've got the conditions, if you'd have maybe moved round to the left, you might have been able to kind of.
Yeah, maybe.
Turn that into a tail almost.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
I wonder where this is. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, Paul.
That's all right. Yeah. Look, it's just. I just thought it was an interesting shot, and it especially with its woodland, and you've got the mist, and you've got the fog, and yeah,
looks like Scotland anyway to me.
Yeah, it's not though, because those bushes along the bottom there.
Yeah.
They look like something I don't recognise.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was a different shot. I just thought it was
different. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, I think we're going to have to leave it there, guys, because we're running really far over. But for next month, don't forget to get your entries in for the what we're calling it again. I keep forgetting, mate. You see, you've come up with this long thing.
I know. It's just me, isn't it? Framing the grand landscape.
There you go. Framing the grand.
The grand landscape.
Framing the grand landscape.
Speaking Japanese again, Paul.
Yeah, but it's fantastic to see all these images this month, and we're really looking forward to seeing more of them next month. So if you can get those in using the hashtag OPG Critique to the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group, and Framing the Grand Landscape is next month's theme. Thanks very much for joining us all this month, guys. It's been a pleasure to see all these images. There've been some fantastic entries. Looking forward to seeing next month's. Thanks very much. See you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.